All right, let's talk weather here. It is the first full day of fall. Obviously, we had the equinox yesterday, but hey, once again, it does not feel like fall at all. Let's take a look at the big picture here. Our next weather system is currently churning through the middle of the country, through the central plains. Have a couple warnings here across Arkansas, tornado watch, in fact, for parts of Oklahoma as well as northwestern Arkansas. So the same system is going to be moving in our direction here over the next 24 hours, and that's going to bring us some pretty beneficial rain. Much of central Alabama stayed dry. We had some pretty significant rain up in Limestone County this morning. Just goes to show with the right setup, you can have these crazy anomalies with rain totals here. Outside of that, pretty dry in much of the state here, and another hot afternoon as temperatures are again headed in that direction of the low and middle 90s here. 92 in Tuscaloosa, 95 in Demopolis, 93 in Monroeville, 94 in Andalusia, and rain cool there up in Huntsville. Gadsden, we have temperatures in the 80s. So what is next for us? Well, let's go to the SPC. So it's not the most active time of the year for severe weather across the southeast. As we know, September and October are typically fairly dry. That means less frontal passages, and of course, it kind of goes without saying, there's usually lesser of a severe impact. You've got these drier fronts moving through, but this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to have a lot of precipitable water with this system, and that's going to bring about the potential for some heavy rain. I don't think severe weather is in the cards for us. I don't think we'll really have any gusty winds or certainly no tornado threat. But nevertheless, marginal risk there for a few wind gusts. That's Wednesday and Thursday. Essentially, the entire state's under a marginal risk as this moves on through. All right, let's go to the modeling data. This is the HER, the latest model that goes out through midday on Thursday. So let's start Wednesday morning. And there's a potential for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. I think the first half of the day, by and large, is fairly dry across Alabama. And then once we get past 3 o'clock, showers, thunderstorms start to become a little bit more widespread. And our western counties first, and then shifting east, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going to be probably the busiest time in terms of rainfall, thunderstorms. Again, we're going to lose instability as the sun goes down. Daytime heating is that source of energy, so I expect these in general to decrease in intensity. However, that high precipitable water content is important, because if we get a shower storm in one spot, or training where we get multiple cells back building over one spot, we could have a flooding concern here. Very tropical air mass in place. We have almost double the amount of what is normal precipitable water in the atmosphere for this time of year, so heavy rain is certainly a possibility. I think we're going to be very, very imbalanced as far as rain totals. North I-20, some pretty good rain totals. To the south, I just don't know how much significant rain is going to be had there. Could be a tight gradient between, inch and a half, and, tenth to a quarter of an inch. By Thursday morning, the front is starting to push through. Some of the models are trying to develop additional rain Thursday. In my experience, when you have a soaking rain overnight in the early morning, it's really hard for the atmosphere to rebound, even with high precipitable water content. So I don't know that Thursday will be a big rain day for us. Clouds will linger, a few spotty showers, but I think the significant rain will come overnight Wednesday into early Thursday. So this is the 3-day Weather Prediction Center outlook. This goes through Friday. And you're going to notice there's, an inch and a half to 2 inches, a swath here in Shelby County, Jefferson, St. Clair, Blount, Cullman, Winston, as well as Walker, extending up into the area, and you'll notice lesser totals to the south. Again, I could see these numbers coming down a good bit with the recent model trends, but either way, beneficial rainfall for central Alabama. It would absolutely be wonderful if we could get some rain, especially here in central Alabama. That would be more rain than we've had over the last month in many spots. Let's look at the latest drought monitor, and again, this would be a good thing to see the rain come through here. Again, this is not abnormal for this time of year, but we head in a direction you don't necessarily want to go in terms of dry conditions. So behind this frontal boundary, what is next? Let's go to temperatures. Thursday afternoon will be in the low to middle 80s. Overnight Thursday into Friday, northern half of the state's going to be in the mid 60s. To the south will be closer to 70 degrees. Friday afternoon looks pretty nice. Best rain chances will be across the Wiregrass. Partly cloudy skies, intermittent cloud cover for Friday night football games as temperatures fall back through the 70s and 60s by Saturday morning. Even cooler air starts to filter in here. We'll have low 60s, perhaps even some upper 50s across the shoals of Tennessee Valley. And this will be a pleasant air mass to be in, drier, not as humid as what we've had. Highs over the weekend in the middle 80s in central Alabama, upper 80s to the south of US 80. Sunday morning could be one of the cooler ones. Again, 50s up in the Tennessee Valley, low 60s in central Alabama, and mid to upper 60s to the south. And we continue with this seasonal-like weather pattern through early next week. Temperature outlook off the goodness, I'm forgetting here. We are looking at the CPC 8 to 14 day outlook. This goes through Tuesday, October 7th, and still hinting at above average temperatures here for central Alabama. So that'll be something to watch indeed here. As we move further and further into fall, note that in October, we typically see our biggest temperature change. In fact, the beginning of the month, we typically have an average high of about 80 degrees, 82. And by the end of the month, our average high is 70. So big transition once we get into October. That's our forecast discussion for this Tuesday afternoon. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening.